It's a new day, and I'm at a new campground in Tennessee. Happier that last night I decided to select the Meriwether Lewis campground just off the Natchez Trace. Now the Natchez Trace is one of the oldest highways that went through this area, going all the way from Mississippi all the way up to Tennessee. Along are several really interesting historic sites, things to do, businesses that you won't find anywhere else, and some beautiful views. But while I'm at this campground, I'm going to show you the one historic site that made this campground basically happen. Yep, we're going to do that in just a minute. First, let me tell you a little bit about where we are though. I love amenities. Something as simple as a water bottle fill-up station makes my life happy. Look at this. So simple. Fresh water. And it doesn't smell weird. That's a positive. As a part of the Natchez Trace, this particular campground caters to a lot of people passing through. The thing I like about it most, it's free! That's right, saving money along the way usually starts with something as simple as finding your campsite. You can stay at a really nice 5-star campsite that has every amenity known to man, or you can stay at a 3-star free campground that has almost every amenity that you needed. Now, not all free sites are created equal. This one is definitely on the higher end of the free site camping. I'm not primitive. I am primitive, but I'm not primitive. I have a nice little drive space for my car whenever I'm at my camp. I have wonderful flush toilets, sinks with running water, fresh water stations for me to get new water, hiking trails, neighbors, which is nice because that means they also maintain the area because I'm not the only one in the middle out of the campground. It's just really a nice campground. So, oh, look at it. I found these all over camp. 3 scenic turnoffs at this particular campground, each of which have some kind of amenity. So this one is right across from the historic site, which we're about to go to. And look, it has maps. This campsite doesn't have a visitor center because there's no place to really check in, nor a need to because you're not having to pay a fee. So despite the fact that there's no little store or anything like that, it's pretty amazing. Yes, and it's well patrolled, so I feel safe here. Looks like I may have spoke a little bit too soon. There's a ranger, and there was a sign temporarily put up saying visitors. It appears there is a small museum that has a little bit of information about the exhibits itself and that what we're gonna go see. Some really neat artifacts in here. Pretty cool. And the ranger said if we have any additional questions that he is available to answer those. There's also a gift shop over here. I'm so excited. Like, this makes my whole life more complete when I find information that is complete. So yeah, I'm gonna look around. The historic site over here, and this is actually the grave marker of Meriwether Lewis. Now, there was a little speculation on how exactly he came to his demise, whether it was by natural causes, by not so natural causes, but he's buried here alongside some of these other gravestones. Perhaps the most sad are the ones right over there that say unknown. Anyway, so this particular place is where a portion of a great piece of history in that Lewis and Clark came to its final chapter. These were, of course, the people who went all the way across from about this area to the Pacific Northwest, and took a very interesting adventure to learn a lot, which has helped us today to have a greater understanding of a very large chunk of our area. So I thought it was kind of cool that this place is not only marked off, but has the great free camping site and a couple of other places that we can check out as well. So this is Meriwether Lewis. Before we came into this particular park, we were along the historic Trace, and that's a major highway that goes all the way from Mississippi all the way up to Nashville. But the highway wasn't always exactly where it is. In fact, this road right here is what the highway used to be. So now, along this old Trace section, you can actually go through, and it's a hiking trail where you can see the old sites and see what it was that the settlers that came to this area and the travelers who followed all saw along what was the modern day highway at the time. It's pretty interesting. Of our day, we're gonna go to a place called Jackson Falls. So I spent the last like 2 hours in the office there talking to the park ranger, and he gave me some really amazing ideas as to where I need to go, not just in this area but in other areas. So I have a really long list now, and I'm super excited to get to actually start exploring some of those places. So I decided that Jackson Falls would be the first. So we're going about 18 miles up the road on the Natchez Trace, and we're going to go and see this falls, which is one of the largest, nicest falls in this area. So the road is pretty decent, it's very beautiful, and the sky is this interesting, like almost like yellowy color today. So I don't know what that means, but we're on the road. It's a little bit later in the afternoon, so I'm going to make this a short trip and then get back to camp and cook some food. Today has been a really interesting day where I've learned a lot. So let's go. Out to Jackson Falls, and it looks like not only is there a falls, but there's an overlook. So we're going to go check them both out. And this breeze feels amazing. So the path here looks like this. That means we didn't need to put our hiking boots on. Even better. First stop along this waterfall trail, and it is the marker which tells you a little bit about it. Now this marker looks like it's seen better days, but I think I can make out a little bit of information about it. It seems that we're next to the Duck River, so down there is the Duck River, and we're going to actually go to the overlook in a minute and check out the climbing tower, which will show us a better view of that. But until then, I'm on this trail and I'm about to get to our steps. So we just about made it. The hill here going down is, well, I feel like I'm running. So I've made it down to the bottom, and it's pretty. It's not as big as I was thinking it was going to be based on the description, but I can see how whenever it's flowing, this place is probably amazing. So let's check it out. something like this in the city. And as you can see, I'm out here and there's no one else here, so it's quiet. It's a great place to just relax. It's absolutely beautiful, even if it's not flowing, like really flowing crazy. Jackson Falls. Like all things, can't stay down here all day, so I'm going to head up to the overlook, the observation tower. I have a lot of stairs ahead of me. The path down is always way easier than the path back up. Wish me luck. Something on my way back up that I didn't see on my way down. Creepy. Really creepy. I don't know, it just looks like a bear or something could live in there, so here we go. Yeah, getting away. So this trail is not as nice as the other one. After seeing that path toward the observation tower, I was a little, I don't know about that. And then a guy came out of the bathroom about the time I was passing, so I asked him if he'd been over there, and he said there were some downed trees, so you'd have to crawl over them. And I really didn't feel like doing that today because it's getting later in the day, and they always tell you when you're on these hiking trails that the animals start moving closer to this time of day. I didn't want to be out there crawling over some trees if it was animal time. And that might be a wussy thing to say, but I always believe when traveling solo, better safe than sorry. So instead, on my way back, I found the Swan Overlook, and it's absolutely breathtaking. I'm going to show you the view from this overlook. It's just one of the many stops on the trace. There are so many stops. Like, I had no idea how many stops there were until I actually went down the trace a little ways to go to Jackson Falls and saw all of these little boop, turn here for this, boop, historic site, boop, walking trail. So you should definitely check out the trace if you get a chance. I wish I had known about this. I would have planned more of my trip around the trace because it's really, really awesome and it has a really interesting history. Imagine seeing this overlook during the fall. Oh my goodness. I can already see some of the light yellows coming through. I can't imagine how beautiful it would be when all the fall leaves are out. It's just awesome. And then on top of that, you have this great pull out. So you can actually get out of your car, stretch your legs, throw your trash away, and then get back onto the trace or onto the highway, which is not too far away from here. So, great overlook, just about, I want to say, 15 miles from my campsite. So, not too bad. Ready. Ooh. And I'm gonna make coffee because I just need some coffee. So everything's all set for my little dinner. And then we're gonna call tonight an early one. So